If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait. If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome into another episode of If You Ain't a Gator podcast. I got my man, exactly, got my man Stephen Harrison here, part of the Stadium and Gale Network. How you doing today, bro? You doing good?
Doing good, man. Can't complain, man. Christmas is around the corner. The Gators are gearing up. Got coaches and players, portal stuff. Hey, man, it's a great time
Locking
to be
it all in.
alive.
You ready for Christmas? I feel like as an adult, it gets here quicker than we
Yeah,
want it to.
for the most part, if I could have slowed down on kids when I was younger, it'd been a little bit better. But no, it's all good. 5 kids in the house, everybody's happy. A couple Amazon packages arrived today, maybe one more tomorrow, and we should be set.
Just finalizing it up. That's good.
Yeah,
Bro, that's good. Yeah, I only got one to worry about, so that's a plus. You know, we do like a Secret Santa thing with my wife's family, my family.
Yeah.
Do it pretty quick. But so we're gonna jump in this. We're gonna talk about coaches, like you just brought up. We're gonna talk about biggest needs in the portal. We'll talk about the schedule, and then got just a little bit more free talk we'll have on here. Diving into the coaches. What do you think about it so far? What do you rate it? What's your grade on it?
I'm sorry, Bob. Before we get into all that, listen, my man has been doing a fantastic job with this podcasting thing, coming in fresh, starting. We're on our quest to get my guy to 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys are watching this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it with a friend. He's an awesome guy. He got a knack for this type of stuff, man, and I believe he's going to do great in this podcasting realm, talking about Gator football and any other thing sports related. So shout out to you, bro. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe to the channel. But what was the question?
Really do appreciate that, bro. Actually, I got to touch on something real quick. Because you said something on Champ's Corner last night that I'm just like, I'm be honest with you, I can't agree with, and it's because of what's right behind you. You said that LeBron's the GOAT, and I just can't agree with it.
Look,
I can't agree with it.
Look at the guy, man.
You got one that's better than him right beside him. What are we doing here?
Listen, man, everybody gets showed the ropes and you got to evolve. You got to go with the times. And I just, I'm a firm believer of not beyond that debate. All right, beyond that debate.
I can't. I heard that and I was like, oh, no, I got to call him out on it.
Look, it's a running joke with me and Shelton. Anytime I get a chance to give LeBron some praise for some Jordan lovers. I love Jordan. Don't get me wrong. I love Jordan, right? But you know what I don't like? I don't like the people that switched out on Kobe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are more Kobe fans. If you're born after 84 or 84 and beyond, you love Jordan, but you had to have been a Kobe fan more than you were a Jordan fan because you got to see most of his games more than Jordan. So for them to switch and just now jump back on the Jordan because LeBron kind of passed Kobe in their eye, they can't make that argument no more. They go right back to Jordan. Stay with Kobe, man. Don't do Kobe like that. Man. Don't just go back to Jordan and LeBron. You guys, most of the people that argue about Jordan to me are really diehard Kobe fans.
I mean, I grew up watching. If you ask me, the GOAT's Allen Iverson. That's where I stand on it. Because that's who I grew up watching.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I had to call you out on it. I was like, I gotta call him out. But no,
it was all the fun.
What is give me your grade, just overall grade on the hire, and then we'll touch on the defense first because that's your side of the ball.
My grade as far as the hire of our coach of Summerall.
Just overall, all the way down to
and the hires that he's been making. I said before, I gave him a B+.
Okay.
As far as the hires he's been making, and that's not a bad grade at all. That's most people want you to just say A, but I'm giving him a B+, and that's the coaches he's hired. He made some tremendous hires. A lot of people don't know about, and I understand that. When you have one team, you kind of focus on that team. You don't get to see the other great coaches that are out there or understand their stories. But for me that stands out is bringing Bam Harmon back home.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball, he's a guy that I have a great deal of respect for. brought me in when I was a youngster and showed me the ropes. When you thought Florida football, the middle linebackers on the defense were the guys that ran the team. They were the hard-nosed people. They were the guys that you didn't want to have a problem with. And so Bam brought me through that process.
Okay.
Freshman when he was a senior, and watching how they operated, and instilled to me the mindset that was there when Spurrier was there. Even though they wasn't winning when I got there, Spurrier was on the way out. Bam was still a guy that was recruited by Spurrier, played with Spurrier, and was on that transition when he was on the way out. So my 2002 with Zook, that was Bam's senior year. And then Freshman came in. So all that stuff that Bam been through, the Spurrier days, all the greatness that was involved, Bam had that in him. And I just hold him in high regards, and I believe he's going to work wonders with the Gators, knowing the history, knowing what it means. And then he's been doing great at his position quietly.
Right.
In circles, people have been talking about him. But, and I believe he's been holding out for that sweet spot for a ticket to come home, because other people wanted him when he was at Tulane. There's been a couple cycles where people were throwing his name out already. And for him to land now with Summerall, I think is a dream come true. And I think it's going to be a tremendous benefit to the Gators for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and I see, I posted a tweet out there saying how everybody want, quarterback coach to be Tebow, and just like all these different things of like who. I think it's the only way that if they saw that, I think it's the only way that and I don't even think everybody would be happy then. Just like overall, it's just like the list I put on there. But I think that it's so funny to watch just the up and down of this fan base. That like 1 second they're happy and they're, like when we get Buster Faulkner, they're like, this man, look what he did with Stetson Bennett over there, and he did this and that. And then we go get a quarterback that he likes, and like, why are we getting him? And I'm like, who do you want him to go get? Like, you want us to go try to bring Brady back and see if he has eligibility left?
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I'd say I'm in the same range, B+. There's a couple of hires that I that there's like rumors out there that I thought we might go grab, like Staples at running back coach. But again, running back coach we went and grabbed. A lot of SEC schools were trying to grab him. We went and grabbed him. Buster Faulkner, best play caller in the country this past season. We go and grab him. I think that, I stand on I almost want to give it a B-, and the only reason I want to say that is just because Muschamp was obviously like, and if you're in that coaching realm, in that coaching circle, who wants to come back, who wants to be in there. And if Muschamp wanted to come back, I'm like, you got to kick the tires on that. You have to. He's an amazing recruiter. He brings just a tough-nosed form of football. So I would have loved to see him be the DC. But, again, Brad White, I'll be the first to admit, I don't know a whole lot about him, but I can tell you that I've watched him give our offenses some trouble, and I've watched him give Georgia's offenses some trouble. So I'm not mad at the hire. Especially if our coach, I know he made the comment, I don't hire friends, but if he's comfortable with him and they're going to click well, because our coach is obviously a defensive guy, then I'm fine with it. Like, I want that to be a machine. I want it to just be a well-oiled machine and be just pushing forward.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I love Muschamp, but I'm also under the same impression that you want to try to move it. Muschamp has been around for a while. And so when you think about the future of Gator football, you want to try to strike somebody that's known, but hasn't reached the top of Muschamp has been here before. You know what I mean? He's had the opportunity to see what he can do with high grade recruits. Let's give somebody else like a Brad White that opportunity. But at the same time, I'm not looking for Brad White to be, he's the guy on the defense, but I know Summerall is a defensive-minded guy. I know you're bringing in guys like Bam, so I think they could do this thing as a tandem, and I don't need the big name just to shock people. I need guys that know how this thing works and is going to actually put bodies in place to make plays. And so I'm not necessarily going for the name, because we got Summerall. A lot of people wanted him as a head coach, but we know he's defensive-minded. You add that with a Brad White, who's a defensive coordinator and a great one in his own regards for what he was able to do where he was at knowing Florida is going to have more talent. That right there gives me more security. And then you have an offensive coordinator of the year on the offensive side. So that's the balance that you get, where you don't, Summerall still can control his defense. He doesn't need to give the key. He gives the keys to a Brad White, but he knows, hey, if at the end of the day, if things not going, I can make some calls here. I can give some suggestions here.
Yeah.
Same thing with the offense. But when you got a Muschamp, you almost got to give him all the keys. And but he's on the, I want to say, end of his career. There's only a couple more stops left for him. Age and time catch up to you, and then there's other guys who've been putting in the work behind you. So I think with a Brad White, we kind of, if we strike with this one. If he gets hot, we can kind of hold him around for a little while and bluster him as a coach to where he's at the Muschamp level when you just hear the name.
Right. Yeah. And I think the thing is too, is the one thing I'll stand on with the Brad White hiring is that he's pieced together some great defenses.
Yeah.
And you also have to stand by the fact that he hasn't had the talent he's going to have at his, right there. I mean, it's right out the front door, his talent in Florida. So with him, and then you bring in, Brandon Harris is the corner coach. He's at UCF. He goes and creates a top 25 pass defense this year. And again, I stand by that there too. Florida is going to get better talent than UCF is.
Sure.
That's just the way it goes. You might strike gold and find a 2-star or 3-star that just makes it work. But I can guarantee you that if you strike gold, you got him for a year and he's out of there. Like, he's going to a place like Florida, or he's going to a place like just somewhere else bigger. Whereas here, you can keep them around for 2-3 years. You can develop them.
Sure.
And so it's hard when people try to talk about him and say, oh, well, he doesn't develop all that great. And it's like, well, he doesn't have ones that he can develop. As soon as he shows the development, they're out of there.
Yeah.
So
when you bring them in, they reach the ceiling, they're leaving. They're going to another school. So at a place like Florida, he can actually see draft picks and have guys that'll be under his name. Say, hey, I put this guy in the league. I put that guy in the league coming from Florida. But Will Harris, Brandon Harris, Stephen Harris. If you get a Harris on the staff,
Harris, bro. Listen, we might need to get you up there for a positional coach. But that's it. Speaking of positional coaches,
do it. Motivational purposes only.
However it works. I mean, go in there screaming and hollering before the game, get them riled up, get them ready to run through a wall.
Sign me up.
So,
do that.
How do you feel, your opinion, about I'm going to say it this way because I don't want to influence your response, but how do you feel about Tulane coaches coming over with John Summerall?
I feel like if we're going to trust Summerall to be the head coach, then we got to trust him to pick the coaches too.
Right.
And it's not just him. I'm sure they're going through a vetting process. He has a guy like Urban Meyer in his back pocket to kind of ask him what are the qualifications to be at Florida. And then these guys who are coming at Tulane, they know what they're up against. Mm-hmm. And so I want guys who are not smelling themselves already coming over. I want guys who, okay, I was able to do it at this level. I'm getting better talent. I need to teach them the same things and prove myself here as well. So these guys are coming over that are willing to run through the wall to prove themselves. These guys are going to be hands-on with the players. They're going to be yelling. They're going to be screaming because they know that everything hinges on them making a name for themselves at this level. So I don't mind it. We have enough guys in top roles that are names we know in the main roles, and then the other guys are support staff who are there to help amplify what they're trying to get done.
Exactly.
And then also learn as they're going. Not saying that they may know more than the guy that's in front of them, but their name hasn't been out there like that. And so this is an opportunity for them to put their head down, get the work done, and be known for coming to the Gators and helping turn this thing around. So I don't mind it at all. Football at the end of the day is football. How you relate to the players and how you're able to translate what you need to do to them is what's most important. And if you look at Tulane and what they were able to do, these guys were in the same roles there. So if you're taking the head coach, then they kind of know what he wants to get done. and these new coaches are coming so they can help reinforce what he wants to get done while also gleaming from those guys and help establish something special at Florida. So I'm not mad at it at all. And like I said before Coach Summerall was coming over, Bam Harmon was a guy that was on my radar for him to come before Summerall even came. So him bringing him it's like extra bonus for us that we have no idea.
Yeah. The big thing with me is too, and again, I see so many people, and I just feel like, I mean, truly, if you guys are listening to this right now, please listen to what I'm saying here. When this man, John Summerall, said, I don't hire friends, he didn't mean that like, oh, I would call this guy a friend. So sorry, bro, you're real good at your job, but I'm not hiring you because I called you, because I said that to them and I call you a friend. And it's like, that's not what he meant by that. He meant, I'm not going to go hire, if me and John Summerall are friends, he's not going to go, hey, JB, I'm going to hire you to come coach the quarterbacks because we're friends. Like, we're pals. So I'm going to come. That's not what it was. He said, I don't hire friends in the sense unless they're qualified. So if he's believing that, and then these guys are coming over, and a good chunk of them are taking like demotions to come over here.
For sure.
They're not getting promoted. He didn't bring the OC. Like, people watched that Tulane versus Ole Miss game and picked it apart and like basically made themselves believe. And I get it, like the PTSD from Napier, but they made themselves believe that that's like how our team is going to look next year. And it's like,
yeah, for sure,
bro, the OC is going to be the quarterback coach. And I don't think their quarterback is bad. I think he's good at making decisions and he has a hand in that. But Buster Faulkner is going to dial up this offense. These guys are just support staff, like you said. They're going to be there with their hands in the mix, just helping develop guys. And if Coach Summerall trusts them, I mean, he made the other hires that everybody was hyping. He made the Buster Faulkner hire. He made the Brad White hire. If he's making these hires, I'm going to trust him. He wants to win just as bad as we do, and I don't think he's going to go just get some duds because he's like, I want to give him a payday.
Yeah, no. And most people don't understand when you made it to the level of football that is at, you have a ton of friends that are in this game. Some guys that you played with, some guys that you just became friends with along the road. And they all know you're going into this position that, hey, man, can I get a hire, man? Can you hire me? And so what he's saying, he's not hiring friends. It's not just because you're my friend. You have to be qualified, like you said. And so just because he knows a guy, that doesn't make it necessarily his friend because they work together and had a working relationship. Anybody that goes to work, you may have a relationship with some people that you may not call for certain things at your house. You know what I mean? You just work with these guys. And so the football world is a vast world. You come across all different type of guys. You may befriend them, but that doesn't, because you have this role, you're not going to hire them. And even in coaching, coaches know that there's some guys that looked up into some roles. There's some guys that have great support staff. They may be the head coach, but they know at the end of the day that this guy really don't know what he's doing. This team is just rocking. And so that's what he mean by I'm not just hiring I'm not hiring friends. He's hiring people that are qualified for the position. Exactly. You may be a friend, but if you're qualified to do the job, then I'm going to hire you. It's not, I have a friend that's overly qualified, but I'm not going to hire him because he's my friend. Because I said he's my friend, I'm just not going to hire him. That wouldn't make any sense. So I think people just need to relax on that standpoint.
Yeah. And I feel like it's real easy. Part of me does wonder, what if we did hire Lane? Like, if we hired Lane, would the fan base pick him apart the way he did? Because, I mean, you got to look at it from these different avenues. Like, I'm like, we got a coach right now who, I get it, like, he's a G5 coach, but there's coaches that, like, your Nick Sabans, your Urban Meyers, your Steve Spurriers, they didn't just wake up one day and go, you know what, I'm going to go on whatever. I'm going to put in an application for the University of Florida or the University of Alabama, and I'm going to get a job there. Like, they had to work their way there. Somebody has to give them that opportunity to get to this spot. And now, is it going to work out? I don't know. That's what we're going to find out. That's why games are played. But we have a guy who loses to Ole Miss, and they ask him, what'd you tell your guys? These are guys that he's, they're 98% of them won't be in the, at University of Florida, and maybe even 100%. I don't know if he's going to bring them in.
For sure.
And he looks at them and goes, I love you guys, but losing is never okay. It's never okay. And so
Yeah.
this man does not want to lose, and he's not going to bring in people that are going to cause him to lose. It's not going to happen. You got to start from somewhere, and this fan base is like ridiculing these hires. I will say there's a couple of hires here. I know a chunk of them, and there's some that I'm like, yeah, I don't know those. I have no idea. But one thing I do know is if you want to pay attention to something, that team, that defense at Tulane, yeah, it's not going to be the DC, but they're going to have their hand in the mix there. They played hard. They were flying around to the ball. They never quit. And then again, that strength and conditioning. Them boys, I mean, you didn't see a lot of injuries. You saw some in that game, but
yeah,
you know, it is what it is. They're throwing their whole bodies out there for that final game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So again, that's why I give it the B+. And you're right. You know, you kind of sway me a little bit back towards like the Brad White hire, that maybe Muschamp going to be able to dial up a defense that's going to be able to compete against these updated offenses.
For
like
sure.
It's different, you know?
For sure.
So, I mean, I like it. So yeah, I was going to touch on it, but I think the O-line hires all of it. I think
Phil. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. You that's what you need. You need to build the trenches.
Yeah.
So you have a guy that's Gerald Chapman that was trying to get taken by the NFL, and then before his extension, he was trying to get plucked away from us by another college team.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that on the defensive line front, and then you bring in a guy like Phil Trautwein, proven history of putting guys in the NFL, proven history of All-Americans, proven history of his teaching style, technique, and all of that. And he has, I don't know what to call it, but he has outpouring of guys who've done it through him. And so when those guys can come back and testify for who Phil Trautwein is, it's going to attract some of the best offensive linemen to the University of Florida. So you couple that with what he has done, and that it almost give you almost an all-star staff, because you have to build in the trenches. And to have a guy like Phil Trautwein in those trenches, teaching these guys up with his track record, we already saw as soon as he got announced to Florida, the amount of 4 and 5 stars that were making eye emojis and happy that he was at the Gators, because these guys love the Gators. But when it comes to offensive line, your position, you at a position that has to make a name for itself. You have to garner recognition. So what better way to do that than with a guy like Phil Trautwein coaching you with his track record? He has a track record with NFL coaches and guys knowing that the product he puts out, if he put his name behind you, then you're almost guaranteed to get a job in the NFL. So guys are going to want to come here because of him being at Florida. That was a big thing as far as offensive line. Who are you being coached up by? You're trying to make it to the next level. Who's the guy that's coaching? Who's going to be the guy that's going to vouch for you to make it to the next level? So you bring that in with Phil Trautwein and with the number one, the offensive coordinator of the year.
Nasty mix.
A recipe for greatness. I won't say disaster, but for greatness. And then, like I said before, with Chapman on the other side, what he's been able to do with these young guys and his development, and people looking for him to take the next leap. We had to give him another. He's the assistant head coach and defensive line coach. We had to give him another title to keep him. So that lets you know the type of person he is, what he brings to the table. So those battles between Trautwein offensive line and Chapman defensive line are going to be epic, and it's going to make for great Florida football in my eyes, for sure.
Yeah, the trenches are going to be great again. If we go out there and spend the money that we say that we're going to spend, and I trust his eye for, like, I didn't fully trust when, and no offense to him, I'm not here to bash anybody that was on the former staff anymore. That let bygones be bygones, but I didn't trust Coach Sale to go out there and find like key pieces. It's like he has an eye for it. Whereas Phil, I'm like, oh yeah, when he's looking through the transfer portal and he knows like, oh yeah, I tried to recruit him, or I tried to recruit him. And it's like higher end guys, like, yeah, we may have thrown an offer at him, but it's like, I might offer the president and come on the podcast, but we know how it's going to end up. Like, he ain't coming on.
No, for sure.
But it's like, you look at it, I'm like, okay, Phil knows these guys. So that helps in just instant development, instant hitting on the portal and just really getting in the mix of things. That's why I like about what I've heard about Summerall is that he likes to get in the mix of the transfer portal. So, do a 60-40 split, 60 high school, 40 transfer portal. But you got guys who have an eye for it. And again, a Brad White who's never had the talent level. I mean, he doesn't have a Cormani at DB or have
for sure.
A Sap on the line.
5 at linebacker.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest one. Or 15 at edge. He's going to be like a kid in a candy store in there. It's just like he's got so much to work with now. But Phil on the O-line, Chapman.
And not only that, these guys, without having that talent, they faced the top end of that talent at Kentucky and at Penn State. And so to be able to get the talent and then go against the talent that you faced it with talent is a whole nother level. So I mean, you had to do a hell of a job coaching those guys up, knowing they were not as talented as some of these other teams and still was able to perform well. So now you get the talent with the same thing you're coaching them up with. It should be great for the Gators, man, for sure.
Yeah, I think it is too. And I think you're going to see our line, our D line. I think you're going to see that elevate as well, because I don't think our O line was that great. I think they were decent, and I think they did very good in run blocking, but pass protection, they weren't that great. And I think you saw a lot of where it's hard for us to get to the quarterback this season. Whereas now when they're going against a great O-line, you're doing that every single day in practice. Yeah. So now it's not going to be a shock when you're like, well, this is a swim move, or this is the different moves that I make, and it works in practice. But in all reality, it's like, you got to get in your bag a little more.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to hit certain gaps a little different. And because now this O-line, now you got a real wall there. So yeah, honestly, I like the hires. Like I said, I put it out there as a tweet, and I'm like, would y'all want him to hire Tebow and Percy Harvin as wide receiver? I'm like, what y'all want? Yeah. And I get a lot of people wanted Dallas Baker as a wide receiver coach, and I understood it, but I'm like, I've also paid a little bit of attention there, and I get
a little more warming up. He's almost right there, and I push for him. Is a great friend of mine. I know what he's doing. I know the work that he's putting in, but I understand the other side of it too. And people want to see just a little bit more. And he's not far away. The more is on the way for sure. And I have no doubt that he would have done great for us. But I understand that people want to see more.
Yeah. And I don't know if there was any hires, like I said, outside of I feel like if you brought Dallas Baker in, I feel like most of the fan base would have been happy because it's a name. It's a name. For me, it's a name that I'm like, I watched him score touchdowns in the national. Yeah, for sure. It means something to me, but also I want to make sure that those names are real deal coaches. I want this new team to be great. And again, I don't know if Coach Sum thought that Dallas Baker was ready. By all means, I'm gonna trust him. Because that's what it is. I'm gonna rock with whoever is rocking with the orange and blue. That's all it is. That's what you did all season and caught a bunch of hate for. And it's just gonna continue on. That's what it is.
For sure. One thing I always said though, even with my hot top guys, I said I want names, but I don't just want anybody. Just because you played for the Gators, just because I want guys that are actually doing a great job at what they're being paid to do. Yeah. So names are not going to just get me with this coaching staff and this new regime. I need guys that have been proven to do what they need to do, or are right on the cusp, or just had a little bit of talent about what they've been working with. They've been able to produce. So I'm not big on the names right now. We got enough names. Troutwine, we got Summerall, we got the offensive coordinator of the year, we got Chapman. I'm at the point of just trusting these guys to build the rest, and then let's see what we do in this transfer portal. Let's see the talent that we able to retain, and then we can go from there. But I believe we have enough to get the job done right now.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that there's names that were on a Saban staff or a Urban staff or these different staffs that I'm like, people didn't know who they were before they hired them either. And it's you got to trust. If you are trusting this guy to be a CEO, and that's what it feels like Summerall's coming in to do. It feels like he's coming in as that CEO type that he's like, okay, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to oversee everything, but I'm not going to dictate everything. I'm not going to control everything. I'm going to just help guide everything, because I'm like, this is how a football team should go, and this is how I'd like it to be. But I'm trusting who I hired, and they're going to do this. And I'm like, you got to trust him to make those hires and create a name. Yeah, Brad White might have not been the biggest name that you could have went and got. Will Muschamp is a name, but Brad White could be that name
For sure.
that, in 2 years from now, Florida's defense is top 10 in the nation, and you got Alabama, Ohio State come knocking. Doom, doom, doom. Like, hey,
Right.
how much can we pay you to get you away? And that's what happens when you have a great coach that can hire.
Yeah,
You
and
trust him every time.
And that's the biggest difference between Napier and Summerall that I want Summerall to be able to do, is be able to go around and check on everybody. You know enough football that you know what it's supposed to look like. You don't need to know every play they call, and you don't need to know, but when something goes wrong, you know that it went wrong, but you need to be able to go check them and address them, coaches, players alike. If it breaks down, I need him to be able to go check this coach. Hey, what happened on this? And he's not responsible for that play, but he's responsible for making sure everybody's in order. So he should have enough trust in everybody to let them run their own thing, but he's the overseer. And you should be walking around every practice, going to every drill, every position, and making sure that it looks right. Because I may not know every play, but I know what football looks like.
Right.
I can look at a DB and tell when he's not playing right. I see his body language. I can tell when he's not where he needs to be. I can do all of that without actually knowing what the play was called. I can look at his body lean and tell if he's running hard. I need somebody that's on top of all of that, and that players are fearful when he come around to their group. Like, oh, coach is here. We better, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we need that out of our head coach more than anything. And he's putting guys that are in place that can take care of their guys, but he needs to be that main guy. If Spurrier was walking around to your group, you're going to be on your best behavior. If Spurrier had to call out your group in practice or before practice start from the day before, Urban did the same thing. We'll have team meetings, and whatever position group sucked, we putting it up on the board before the practice even start. That whole group got to stand up and be accountable in front of the team for why this wasn't the way it needed to be. And Herb put that on them. He called out the coach, make the coach stand up with the players. Ask them why in front of everybody is it not working? Why if we got these other groups putting in all the work, but we're not going to fail because of you? And that needs to be called out. It has to be addressed every time, every practice, every step of the way. And I believe that's what Summerall is going to do.
I do too. I think, like you said, he's a football guy, and that's when you get somebody. It's kind of hard to really look at it and to take in kind of what I'm about to say, but you have some guys who are just, maybe they don't want to lose, but they almost like know how to lose. And that all falls down onto the players. Whereas like you have a guy who hates it, and you can tell, like I get it. Like, there's more that went behind just that conference after the Ole Miss game, but you could see it in his eyes. Like, and then even after they won, he's like, yeah, we suck. We should not be in the top 25. Like, we suck. Shouldn't be in there. I like that accountability from him. I like that he is willing to call that out and tell, like, you hear your head coach going, oh, we suck. Like, yeah, we won, but dang, like, maybe we do suck. That's holding you accountable. But then you also have somebody who he'll tell you suck, but then if a pass interference isn't called, he's looking like a psycho on the sideline, screaming at the ref. So it's like, he'll tell you what you don't want to hear, but he also has your back and will fight for you till the very end.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what I love about him. And again, that's why I'm just trusting every hire that he did. I got a group chat and just my family, different things that we talk about these coaches. Like, oh, what do you think about that? And I'm like, I just trust him. I trust what he's doing. Moving on to the schedule next year. I don't know how much you really looked at it, but I just kind of want your take on, do you feel like it's the same level of this season? Do you think it's going to chill out a bit? But I'll just read it real quick. We got FAU. We got the Campbell Camels, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mizzou, South Carolina, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Florida State.
It's definitely, this year was probably the toughest year ever in the history of Gator football.
Yeah.
So this next year is definitely a step back from that. But anytime you play in the Gators, people are going to give you your best. They always want to. We've had too many years of kicking people in the behind for anybody to feel sorry for us and try to take it easy on us. So it's going to always be a competition. But I like this schedule, especially for a new staff. Especially how it starts off, give them a chance to get warmed up and get things going. So I like the schedule. I'm always 12-0 in my mind. So until they prove me otherwise, but I definitely like our schedule. It's a cupcake considered to this year.
Yeah. And I've always said there's not a loss on our schedule until we lost it.
Yeah,
like, that's
sure.
how I feel about it. But I do like, and if there's one thing, again, you got to give a little bit of credit to Billy. His first couple of seasons, he's opening up with Utah, number 9 Utah, his very first game, and then the next season he's got to open up going to Utah, and so he didn't have no easy slate at it, I'll say. But just looking at the schedule, and just to be completely honest, I'm not fearful of really a whole lot on here. I'll say going to Texas worries me. It's a tough place to play. I think that Arch is he's starting to find that rhythm a little bit, but we got players that are going to still be on this team that they figured them out this year. Georgia's going to be a tough one because, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got to go not to their home, but we got to go to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year. So that's going to be, I'd say, a little bit more of a home field.
Yeah.
Right. And then but honestly, and we might lose a lot, but outside of those two, a lot of these don't scare me a lot. You're going to have Oklahoma is going to have a great defense, but they're not going to have John Mateer. Vanderbilt won't have Diego Pavia. And again, this is all subject to change because of the transfer portal, but a lot of this stuff doesn't scare me, to be honest. So I could see a 10-win season, honestly, in those 2
no, man. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm trying to be real here, but I mean, it's gonna be 12-0 come off season.
The Texas game before, them just joining a conference was a little daunting, just trying to figure it out. But I think the more we play them, the more going over there is just going to be regular. And we've proven that just with playing them. We had 2 young quarterbacks, but the rest of the team, panned out well. So I think the hype of Texas with Florida going on the road over there won't be as much, just because we're starting to see them a lot more now. We're starting to get a taste for them. They're in our conference. We get to see them play other teams, so we can kind of digest it a little more. They had a little more mystique when they wasn't in the SEC. Now you're in the SEC, it's big boy football. Y'all proven to be a good pick coming over to the SEC. We like to pride ourselves as being the best conference. So y'all joined the best conference, and you're holding your weight, and we like that. But it won't be no difference between playing the Georgia or Tennessee or something like that to me.
Yeah,
they're not like big bad wolves like Alabama or Georgia game per se.
Right. I think that if you get in the mix of the transfer portal, and I think that was a hard part of just these off seasons, is that we didn't get into the mix like we should. You had a Cactus Howell on campus, and he let him walk off the campus, and then he goes over to Texas A&M, and he's had a great year at Texas A&M. And so it's just like, now you have to get these guys on campus. You can't let them leave so you can get in that mix. But to see the athletes that we have, and I get we're losing some. I understand that. But if we can keep a vast majority together, these guys competed all year for the most part. I mean, I get it. We got blown out by Kentucky, but the games that it's like, I think that they just really went out there and were just like, whatever. And it got out of hand. Like, it was just like that ball started rolling down the hill, and they're like, oh, well, wait just a second, it'll stop. And it never stopped. It just kept rolling against like a Kentucky. But Ole Miss, great team in the playoffs, competed with them. Georgia competed with them. Texas was right there on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, and we beat them. So you have these different LSU, another one that, they didn't finish with a great year, but outside of, DJ throwing a lot of completed passes to LSU. That game was right there. Miami, who's in the playoffs, that game we were in the mix. So you got athletes here, but now you got to go, number one, you got to get depth. I want to go see us, and we'll touch on that in just a second, but I think that's kind of how you can get going right away. This transfer portal does that for you. Sure. I don't want to be a TCU where TCU their first year with their head coach goes and makes the natty and they get absolutely just no pun intended, they get dog walked. But I don't want that. If that's what it takes, us losing a little bit the first year to be a long success. But in all reality, you can win right now.
No, for sure. The object is to win right now.
Yeah.
And I think with the portal, though you're going to lose some guys, you got to look at what was their production when they were with us. How valuable was that? But you're going to lose some guys. But all that means is you're going to bring some guys in. There's a certain amount of roster spots, certain amount of scholarships. Losing guys, receiving guys. Our job is just to make sure the guys we're replacing them with are either equal or higher, preferably higher of value than the guys that are left, or better fit. Some guys are leaving for fit reasons. You're changing different things. Coaches are coming in probably saying, hey, we're not going to utilize this position that much, or we really like these guys at this position. And by me evaluating what I like to do, I don't really like these guys. So they probably can go into the portal. You're not going to hear it from the other side of, oh, yeah, they told me to leave. Or, they told me I'm not going to play that much. A player will never say that, and then the team not going to come out saying that. Because
they're going to make it like, I left.
It's going to always seem like I'm just entering the portal. Thank you for all your time, and we're parting ways. It's never going to come off as, I don't fit what they're trying to do, and this the direction they're trying to go. So you got to consider some of that is going to be that reason that you just don't fit the mold. You don't fit what these new guys are going to come in and do. They already have guys on their radar that they're looking at bringing in. So you're not going to hear that aspect of it. But we just need to see how it feels out. But you lose some, you replace some. It's not the end of the world. You just need to retain the guys that we need to retain. Jaden Ball.
The portal takes and the portal gives. And that's the reality of it. But the thing is, and this is what I try to – there's a couple of things I try to get across lately. And I'm going to say the first thing because it's going to be okay. But the second thing, a lot of people probably going to unsubscribe after I say this. But the first thing is that you got to stop getting tied to the names.
For sure.
Because no matter what, whether you got Florida, and I get it, like us as fans, it's really detrimental to us because we know those names. That's who we're really focused on. That's who we're watching every single week. So you get accustomed to those names. Ademize, that was a tough one because it's like, he was a real Gator.
Yeah.
Coming out with Gators in his hand, and
mom, all that. Yeah.
Exactly. And the way he carried himself, like you could tell he loved the university. And again, here's the one other thing too. I said it on last week's show. Don't bash these players because just because they enter the transfer portal, it does not mean they're not going to be a Florida Gator next year.
Right, for sure.
They may test the waters and go, well, dang, I was making $150,000 there, and I'm only being offered $80,000 right now. But the big thing with me, and I stand by this, and guys, please, 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 please hear me when I say this. I love Jaden Ball, and I want Jaden Ball to be a Gator next year. Yeah, I know. But we have needs. Like there's needs on this team that we have. We need an O-line. If you cannot afford an O-line because you're overpaying Jaden Ball, it doesn't matter. I don't care how good Jaden Ball is. That if there's no O-line, then they're going to be able, you know what I mean? Jaden Ball ain't gonna be able to run.
For sure.
So that's, I do please Summerall, work your magic and figure out a way to get him, and hopefully for a little bit cheaper, and let's keep him here. And then let's also go afford an O-line. Let's go grab another quarter. I'm hoping we're going to have Philo and then another quarterback, but let's be able to put pieces in place. Cause I'm like, you got to put depth at corner. We realized this year how quickly you got,
injuries,
deep into
everything.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you got to go buy depth. And if you can't do that, then because you're overpaying players, which is a big chunk of kind of like what I feel like Billy was doing, is he's
Mhm.
paying a huge amount to this player when, it's like we got other needs. And it's like,
No,
okay,
for
well,
sure.
cool, we got receivers. But even with like Nashawn Montgomery, I think Nashawn is going to be a household name in 2 years. But if you're overpaying him when you really should be paying corners to have depth there, when you got depth at receiver, it doesn't work out. You got to look at it at a business standpoint, and that's just why I feel that way. But again,
you're 100% correct in that feeling. But I think the one caveat we have, or the one joker card that we have, is Phil Troutwine. When it comes to the running back position, knowing you have a coach on the offensive line that's established and will be able to coach these guys up. So if you got young offensive linemen that haven't necessarily hit the mark yet, but they got the size and the speed, Phil Troutwine being able to get them up to speed gives you a little more hope at the running back. It's like, okay, we got a coach here that knows how to get these guys going. Let's look at what his track record and what he's done. And so, okay, I may be okay being able to create the legacy I want here at Florida and counting on him to get these guys that we need. Okay, I may take a little bit less, but I'm staying a Gator. I'm still creating my legacy, but we have a coach that are going to get these guys up to the speed that I need them. So you're not being sold by, hey, we got the best offensive line. Well, we got one of the best offensive line coaches. And on paper, these guys may not be there yet, but I'm trusting him to get these guys up to speed.
Right.
And like I said Monday on my Champs Corner segment, that legacy is great for Ball. To say that you were at Florida and you stayed this whole time, no matter what happens next year, it won't be on you if you don't perform how you need to perform if the offensive line is not there. So you can still leave. But I feel like if you run and go to another team that's supposed to have an established line and somehow it all crumbles down, then it almost look like, well, you left, you ran into a situation, didn't work. Well, we need to see more from you as an NFL scout.
Yeah.
Versus, we saw what you did last year. We know you didn't have that many touches in the beginning of the year. You still broke 1,200 yards. If you only get the 900 this year, you still a top talent going to the draft. You still can leave your junior year with no question mark on you. It's just if for Florida's first regime. But I believe in Troutwine to be able to get it done with guys who weren't as coached up as they should be, that have the size. One thing about our backups at Florida, if you ever look at our offensive line and stuff, these guys are not lacking size. They're not lacking speed or talent. It's coaching them up. And those little nuances that Troutwine are going to bring are going to have them at a whole nother level. And I think that benefits Barr, especially. I think it's contingent upon, because he has to make a decision early.
Yeah,
they have to relay the message to him that, hey, in this portal, we're going after these guys that are going to be able to patch up this line for you, and we have Troutwine.
Yeah.
So I think that's the message to him, to guarantee that, hey, we're going to go get these linemen, or try to, whatever the top end of the offensive line is, that's what we're going after for you to help you continue your career. And bringing in a new offense, we're going to need to lean on the running game. That's one thing you can get established from day one, is running game.
Yeah.
Passing game comes along, but we need you here to establish that running game. So there will be no shorter carries for you. Until everything get going, you may be at 25 carries a game. I don't know. You know what I mean? And then we can open it up and save your career a little bit. But don't worry, you're going to touch the ball. You're going to get to showcase what you can do, and we'll try to get you into that. Running backs are hard to draft this year. Well, what's the name? He's at Boise State. He got down there 50 carries a game. If Ball gonna leave, go to Boise State.
Yeah. Well, see, and when it comes to, I think this is the biggest thing you can go say too, because I get that he wants money, but if I'm Buster Faulkner, I go and tell him, and I'm putting it very bluntly. I'm like, I know that you cared about Billy. You know, you committed to Billy. You played for Billy, but Billy couldn't dial up a pass offense. I can. So now you can't stack the box. You can't. You're going to be able to move around a little bit more. So that 1,200 that you got, if we give you a little bit more carries, and they're having to, get into those dime packages, and you're able to move around a little bit more, it's like, well, we can get you 1,500. We can get you 1,600. We're going to get you up in that first round.
70-yard runs versus having to grind it out. You could have 10 carries and one of them went for 70.
Exactly. Yeah, bro. And I mean, I definitely think, I mean, I don't know anything, but I hope he stays. I'm going to go on record and just say that I think he stays. I feel pretty confident that he does. You know, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, maybe he goes. But I think that he is a huge asset. But again, I think there's a lot that we need. So touching on that, what do you think in the transfer portal, 2 position groups? What do you think where do you think is our biggest needs?
Quarterback, offensive line, a defensive lineman or 2, maybe about 1 defensive lineman, because we've been doing a great job with Chapman, coaching these guys up, and then the scheme that we run, it doesn't require you to have 2 inside linemen that are just like that. We don't run a 4-3, so you can kind of rotate these guys in as far as the nose tackle position. So I think we're kind of safe there, but we definitely need a cornerback, at least a cornerback, to come out. I think wide receiver wise, we're going to be fine if we can get a quarterback to get the ball in these hands, the guys' hands between Dallas, Vernell, and the guys that are coming back, freshman Davion Grosse, and the guys that are already there, Abrams, that we haven't even had a chance to get the ball back. 3, right. Hopefully we haven't heard anything about him, but we got guys that we can get the ball in their hands with. So we need a quarterback that can get it in their hands as well. But yeah, I'll say offensive line for sure, quarterback, a corner, and maybe a defensive tackle. Those are my top. As far as I don't know how many we need, but we definitely need at least a high-end guard, a high-end tackle.
Yeah.
That's going to cause competition between these guys. A quarterback, a defensive tackle, and we need an edge rusher as well. I like what 15 has done for us, but we need somebody else that's going to be able to come in and be on the other side of push. We may already have it on the roster. I don't know, but I wouldn't mind a junior coming in that's proven himself in that position. But definitely offensive line, quarterback, a DB, and defensive tackle for me.
Yeah. I think a good rotation on the D line for me. I think like the main groups we need to hit is obviously I think O line. I just think that we might be okay there, but I just know that there's been injuries on that O line
for sure.
Yeah, you need depth, and you need to get what Phil is comfortable with, and then I think we need the corner room to get some depth there. Go ahead.
I was just say one thing I know just from being a former player. And I know Phil mentality, he's one of those guys that had to gain weight to get to where he needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So being like myself, I came in at 218. I was a defensive end / tight end. By the time I left Florida, I was 290. So I gained 20 pounds every year. I went from defensive end to 3 technique to nose guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I played every position on the defensive line. My redshirt freshman year, I was a backup defensive end. And then I got in trouble. You know, my story is long, but all I'm saying is guys like that know how to look at talent and can tell where they're going to be and tell, hey, this guy just needs this work. And so I believe Phil's ability to do that is going to help us tremendously because he can just look, not just looking at names, but he can look at the guy, how he bends. He's looking at his tape from high school and all this stuff to see what changes he's made to tell him how he get where he needs to be, because he's transformed his own body to be able to play at a high level in the SEC. You come in underweight as an offensive tackle, then have to put on the weight and all these other things, and then still go on to win national championships. That says a lot about who you are and your awareness of what it takes to play the position.
Right.
And so, and technique wise, because if you're coming underweight, that means you have to have best technique. In order to take on some of these blocks, you got to have technique. Offensive line is all about technique.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the days in college, just because guys are big, coaches are taking them because they're big and they've been able to overpower guys in high school. But if you never get the technique, it doesn't matter. Just because you can overpower somebody in high school and look good, you're not taking the right technique. So when someone takes the right steps, it's gonna hinder you.
Yeah.
I take it back to when we played what was it? LIU. and some of our linemen were getting beat. We got the size, so everybody, they're going to beat them. But LIU started running movement defenses or taking rock steps as a defensive front to where I'm going to slant and get in the backfield behind you. And if you got perfect technique, it's going to beat somebody that's big every time.
Right.
That's what we did with Ohio State. That's what we did with a lot of guys when we were in 06. Our technique was better than a lot of those guys, and we exploited what everyone tried to do because they were bigger. And so when you have flawless technique, it's going to make you better. And I believe Phil is going to be able to do that to help us bolster that offensive line, because you can look at the guy that you will overlook because of size and be like, no, but he got great technique.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people too don't understand, like, for one, Phil was a part of a national championship, like 2 national championship teams.
For sure.
You were a part of a national championship team. And it's just like, or even having, to be able to talk to like Vern, talking to Vern about the corners on our team.
Yeah.
It'll tell you like, this guy is one of them ones. Like I see just the way he moves. And it's like, well, you guys have been there. Like, you were a part of that team. You played, you put in meaningful hours. And then on top of that, like, yeah, Vern never played for a national championship team, but going first round, I'm like, he knows what it takes. It's not like he just did it off of just pure, like, what he did in high school. He worked on his craft, and he did that. Same with you, like you just said, beating out Ohio State. Phil, the same way. To stop some of these guys you're going against, the LSUs, the Bamas in that time frame, you have to do certain things to get your technique right, and he can see that. It's like, there's more to it. And so you're right. Maybe we do got guys on there that he's I'll
tell you my clearest example from a defensive line standpoint. We had Joe Corn, Marcus Thomas. We had me, Ray McDonald. Ray started off as an inside D tackle. They moved him to defensive end. He ended up playing with San Francisco 49ers, all of that. We had a guy named Clint McMillan. We used to call him the Lion Tamer. His dad raised lions from Orlando area. He played defensive tackle, but he was undersized. But bro, he had the most flawless technique on our team. We call him the technician. You know what Clint is now?
Where?
The New England Patriots defensive line coach.
It works out.
But you see what the New England Patriots have been able to do?
Killing it.
Clint we call him the technician. Now he's in the NFL, been coaching I don't know how many years now.
And teaching that technique.
And teaching the same technique to guys that are in the NFL, and the New England Patriots are killing it right now. They got 4 losses, 3 losses, 2 losses, something like that, some minimal. But their defense has stepped up, and Clint McMillan is their defensive line coach, and we talk all the time. He's a part of our group, but he's been around us, the guys you would consider phenoms and champion winners, and all they got the stats and all of this stuff. Clint played. He was part of both championship teams. He didn't get as much recognition. He was a smaller defensive tackle, but his technique allowed him to play at Florida. But now he know what it looks like, and he's able to go point it out to their scouting department and all this stuff and translate it. And now he's doing a hell of a job as a defensive line coach in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, I think that's how it is too, is that you watch people who can, if you can teach that technique off of somebody who does have a great build or like got that size, if you can then teach that technique, because you can't teach size.
You can't teach that. Sure.
I mean, that was one of the big things. Like, I remember watching Gervon Dexter when, he went to high school right down. I live in the same city now, where he went, and you go out there and watch him, and you're watching Lake Wells High School come walking out like this, and he's like up here. And I'm like, he would just bully everybody. There's nothing you could do to him. And I remember hearing a guy that was at the game, to some guy, I don't even know who he was, and he said, he's like, well, we'll see how it transitions to the next level, because everybody's going to be
He's going to meet your match, yeah.
Or they may be a little bit smaller, but they do it right.
Then you're back Gervon Dexter again.
Yeah.
The development come. What he was in college is nowhere what he is in the NFL.
Yep.
It comes with development. But one thing he always had was the size. But it takes somebody to be able to see it and say, no, we can take this to a whole nother level.
Right. Yeah. I just think that, again, with these hires and just everything that we got working, I think that, like, I completely disagree with what Neo's saying with 3 to 5 wins next year. You're hyping the players that got us that many wins this year. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. I told you before we started this, I had a question for you. It's nothing scary or crazy. It's just I want to hear your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you rather, speaking transfer portal here, would you rather grab a guy that has P4 experience, but he's been mainly a backup, or would you rather go grab a G5 starter who's like hungry for that chance at like that bigger school?
It depends on scheme.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the name, but if the scheme fits and he's G5 and he's been lights out, then I'm going with the guy that's a G5 that fits the scheme because I'm bringing in the same scheme.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on say it's a safety or something, or a guy like Aaron Gates' position, and you've been running that at G5 and you've been lights out all year, and I
Mm-hmm.
need that plug. If you got the measurables and you got the speed, I'm plugging you in. There's no doubt about it. Versus a guy that's just a backup because I don't get to see you on the field enough, and there's a reason why you're probably a backup. And it's the reason. It's up to you to explain. If you can tell me, hey, coach, there's been a lot of politics. They just don't like me here, or I might have had this mess up, man. And they told me I wasn't gonna start, but I was gonna play because I got in a situation. But that's all cleared up. Then that's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? But
Right.
when you get to the high level, if you're not on the field, I need to know why. If you're as good as you're supposed to be, why are you not on the field?
Mm-hmm.
Because coaches don't have time to put their job and family and livelihood on the line, not playing you. If you're not on the field, it's a reason why, and we have to get to the bottom of that. So I wouldn't mind taking a Power 5 guy if he fits the scheme and he's been elite at that scheme and has the measurables. You got to have the measurables in the SEC,
of course,
especially depending on the position. If you're talking about defensive line, defensive end, and you better be 6'3", and you better run a 4.5, 4.6 at the lowest. If I'm taking you from a Power 5, if you defensive tackle, you better have 20 sacks. If I'm taking you to come to the SEC, because it's just it's night and day difference between the trenches. So it depends on who you are, the fit. And I'll take G5 over Power 4 backup if you fit what I'm looking for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of how I feel with it too. And I asked this randomly to like my buddy the other day because it just like clicked, and I was like, I gotta ask somebody this because he cares about it just as much as I do, and we kind of bounce off of each other. And I asked him, and he brought up a good point about how it's kind of like position wise is why it matters. He's like, I don't know if I want to go grab a G5 wide receiver necessarily, and he's like, but maybe like a G5 O lineman or D lineman who, like you said, has the measurables, and you can almost see like Phil would look at an O lineman from a G5 team and goes, okay, I can see he's already got some technique. If I just tweak it here and tweak it there, we can make him great. But for me, I think that if you brought it up here, is that if you're a backup, because we are a P4 school. So if you are a backup at a P4, it's like, well, then we're getting like the leftovers, basically. Like you weren't good enough. And yeah, maybe like you said, there might be politics. There's a few other things that goes into it, but we've kind of seen it. Like when some guys from like Georgia have transferred to us, we're hyped like, oh, we got this guy who was a 5-star or whatever. And he's, but he's a backup here. And then they get here and it's like, well, what did they do? Right. Like, what did they really do? Whereas you get these guys who transfer from a G5, like a JMU or a Tulane, and they're hungry and they're like, that's the route I would say to go. And I think, like you said, football is football. A lot of times too, is as long as you have the right size and you are coachable, you can play different levels. Now, I mean, the NFL is a little different animal, but college, you can play different levels, especially if you got great coordinators that can scheme it up great.
For sure.
So I want people who have been there. I want the reps. I want people who have been on the field. It may not be the same talent, but again, you got the measurables and you're coachable. I think that give me a G5 guy.
I think these guys got to start coming with the Carfax. Like I need to know what happened with the car beforehand. Like, what's going on? Because you can have guys that have the measurables and the speed and all this, but can't learn the playbook to save their lives. You're no good to me if I can't have you on the field for 80% of the game. If you're going to make a mistake and you just can't grasp the football, yeah, you can run, you can do all this stuff, but if you can't understand schemes, and we go in these meeting rooms and I'm giving you breakdowns and percentages and formations. Hey, on third down, they like to run this set. And 80% of the time out of this set, they're going to run this play. And you just keep messing it up in practice. I don't care how fast you are, how strong you are. None of that is going to matter if dude going to bomb you for 50 yards and you were 20 yards away from the play. So some of these guys have the measurables and you just don't understand the background noise. I need to see that, though. I need the Carfax. I need to know, but a lot of schools are not going to put these players on blast, and rightfully so. So you have to really do your due diligence of understanding why backup at a Power 4 is coming into the portal. If he's the backup there, that means he should have been the starter coming up soon. Why is he not going to be the starter?
Right.
And why would he want to leave in that case? You know what I mean? It was playing time. Well, do you know all the plays, son?
Yeah.
Because if it's playing time, you're that good, then you should be the starter next year. What's going on here?
Yeah. And I think some of this stuff has a little bit of like I give some leniency here, some leniency, like whichever way. I'm a little bit like you can pull me each way, and I understand it. Like, for example, if we go get Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech, right? He was set in line to be the starter this year. It's not like he's competing, like he was the guy, and then but you got a guy in front of him like Haynes King. He might be better in certain areas, but he needed to learn a little bit more. He's been learning in Buster's scheme. So I understand that.
For sure.
But again, then you got like Colton Joseph from Old Dominion, whereas I get like people would look at that and go, well, he's at Old Dominion. He's playing against these guys. I'm like, yeah, but you got to look at just look at his release. Look at the flick. Like, look at the way he ball placement. I don't care if you're throwing against someone's grandma. If you can put it over their grandma and put it in their hands, accuracy is accuracy. Some of that stuff you can't teach some of that.
Right.
Like, you can kind of get them right with it, but some people are just pure athleticism and some people are just accurate. Some people know how to put it in the bucket. Same thing on all tangibles. Like, there's certain places, I get it, but like me personally, again, like I would love to kick the tires on like the Colton Joseph from G5. Let's see what he can do. Let's bring him up to big boy football, because from what I've seen, or like, I don't know. That's just the question I had.
One thing about football is certain positions, the tape don't lie.
Right.
Quarterback position, the tape is not going to lie. You got to get the ball out your hand with timing and the placement, the ball speed, accuracy. Those things don't lie across football when you're a quarterback.
Right.
No matter who you're playing, you're going to have busted coverage, or you're going to get pressure in your face. You're going to get all these things. But the one thing that's constant is the quarterback throwing the ball. The arm angle, all those things is stuff you can't refute. So that's just with the quarterback position. So you can point out a quarterback. It's like the guy that they're talking about now, I think from Florida. It's the quarterback from one of the schools in Florida. I forget what his name is.
You talking Byron Brown from USF? No,
not USF. North Florida. Is it North Florida?
Oh, Stokes. Marcus Stokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why he's that high regard to quarterback is you can see it. You can't hide it. And he has enough tape to where you can see what he's able to do. Now, you want to bring him in those situations, though, into an offense that's similar to what he's already been running, because that can set him back. You like what he's able to do, but you don't run the same style of offense, then that's going to set him back. So you want to bring those guys in hot and let them continue what they're doing. If your offense don't match what he's doing because he's a high name, that's not something you want to touch.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to look at, too, why they're there. Like a Marcus Stokes, he was coming D1. Like, he was coming to P4. He was coming to Florida, and he made a stupid mistake. And then, like, it's you gotta like teach lessons at some point. And so he's there, but he's making the most of what he's doing there. But like you said, if he's at University of North Florida and he's throwing 12 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns, I'm gonna go, all right. But now you're throwing up. You're putting up crazy numbers. Yeah. And it's just like you look at Cam Newton put up crazy night. I know there's not much comparison to Cam Newton, but when
But you're right. You're right.
Cam
In
Newton
that
went
analogy.
JUCO
Yeah.
and put up crazy numbers, then he comes to the SEC
Yeah.
and balls. And I mean, for
Just
example, with
imagine
him,
had he went to JUCO and didn't put up those numbers, it would never happen. Yeah.
he never would have played at Auburn. Like he would be
Yeah.
just a nobody, and he would never. And then you see what he does. He goes on, he plays in the Super Bowl. He's an MVP quarterback, and it's just like some people just got it, and
Mhm.
some people just don't have that avenue that they need to be able to get seen. Like for example, Derwin James is playing for the Chargers. I don't know if he still is, but at one point he was the highest paid safety. He went to the high school that I went to. We played football out in the middle of orange groves. Nobody sees you out there. Like nobody
Yeah.
can even find how to get out there. But he went to camps and like made a name. But
Mhm.
it's real simple. He just had the measurables. Like he had the size. He had everything that everybody's like, oh, okay, this guy's different. But some people don't have that avenue. Like there's players I played with at Haines City. I'm like, oh, those guys right there. I watched them play football. Like a dude before I even got to high school. I watched him play, and I'm like, oh, this dude is nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never got to play, and he played a similar style to like what your Percy's and your Kadarius Toney's coming up, taking a handoff, you know, catching it deep.
Take it to the house.
Never got a chance, and he goes to Western Kentucky. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and then he balls there, but at that time there's no transfer portal. So it's like there's great
Yeah,
players
Austin Joseph
everywhere.
for sure. Yeah.
You know, it's just a question I had, and it's just been like, I'm like, let's just see what a former player has to say about it, because
it's
you know,
position based for me.
yeah,
Depending on the position, and what you did at the position at the level you were at. But
Mhm.
it's more so just watching the film. I got to see the film because I'm not looking at the play you made. I'm looking at how you made it, your body lean, how fast was your get off, these different things that can determine if you can do it at the next level, not necessarily the play itself. A lot of guys break runs for 80 yards and they went untouched. But if I seen you stiff on somebody, spin out of this and do that, I'm like, all right, yeah, it can work here.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. I guess it's like, I guess it's kind of like how it is. Like, for example, like Philo, for me, watching him play, when he came in, he made the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I get there's like a couple of clips that are shared and everybody's like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's real easy if you want to nitpick. Like you could probably find bad passes that Tebow made.
No, for sure.
Joe Burrow made bad pass. I mean, Joe Burrow threw a
for
pick
sure.
6 to, you know, in the swamp. So, I mean, you got bad, you know, plays, but yeah.
Peyton Manning never beat the Gators, so.
Yeah. I'm like, man, yeah. It's just a question I had. I like the idea behind it. I
appreciate it.
Out of curiosity, because I feel like they don't, I don't know, especially as Gators fans. I feel like we hear G5 and I swear it just like we start shaking. Yeah.
I'm always looking for that next level person though. It's just like scouting a player. You want to get that. You want to find that steal. You want to find that dime in the rough. You want to be responsible for bringing this person up, and they're gonna show you a lot of gratitude. And so, I think Spurrier was not expected to win, but he did it. Urban came from Utah and did it. Now, Urban is probably one of the few coaches that have done it and then went and did it somewhere else.
Yeah,
a lot of guys that that are going to these big schools or whatever haven't even proven to do it in Power 4. You've been a Power 4 coach all the time, but haven't won.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what's the difference between going to get somebody who's proven that they won in a lesser conference, but if they bring the same thing over, more talent, then we're looking for that same result. So I can understand why you do it, because none of these guys have the blueprint besides, I would say, Urban Meyer. But we got him on our side now. He's giving it to Summerall, so I like it.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what plays into it as well. You said it. You touched on it like earlier in the show. Is that Urban is here now? Urban has his hand in the mix. So and Summerall, he's got his number in his phone. He can call him, and it's like he can ask him, "What do you think about this hire? How do you feel about this?" Urban was great at making hires. So if he's got him on his side, it's not like that hiring kind of goes away. So he's got that in his back pocket. Same thing with Spurrier. I get that Spurrier's outdated. He's he's an older man, but
you need that wisdom.
Football knowledge is football knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, because I get there's certain fun, different schemes, you know, and different fundamentals you can do with it, but a lot of that stuff stays true. I think it was Steve Smith was showing these receivers, and these receivers he's telling them, all right, you show me your get off the line. And they're moving around. And he goes, you don't waste 4 seconds. Your quarterback's sacked already. Sure. And he's like, this is a fundamental. Put your cleat into the dirt and go. Like, you need to get off that line. Stop trying to look. This ain't 7-on-7 football. So when it breaks down, if you can just fundamentals, everything will be all right.
The thing about old school wisdom is sometimes it never matches the time.
Yeah.
Right. But what they say is going to match somewhere within what you're doing. You can be like, you know what? He did tell me that it didn't fit over here, but man, it did great over here.
Yeah.
And so you have to glean old school wisdom, listen to the stories, because it may not affect what you're doing right now in the current moment, but that old school wisdom is always going to prove itself true sometime in your life. And so that's why I love Spurrier being in contact with him. Urban's a little closer to it in time, but you'll be a fool to ever overlook anything Spurrier is telling you and not try to find a way to apply it.
Right. Winners win, and that's just the reality of it. Sure. And it's just like, I think that kind of gets overlooked, is that there's just people that they just win in whatever they do. You might play them in rock, paper, scissors, and winners are going to find a way to win. And if you surround yourself around winners and you got 2 winners endorsing you, you are going to end up taking on that. You are who you surround yourself around. So if you surround yourself around winners and you're not egotistical, I mean, he seems like just watching him. I watched that video where it's him, Urban, and Spurrier, and I'm watching him watch them. I'm like, oh, he's taking it in.
Dialed in, yeah.
Yeah, whereas you got other coaches who they have that access, and then it's just like it's like, it's my way or no way.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And so it's just not going to work. And so that's why I trust him, man. I don't know. Like I said, I give a B+ to the hires, but it could end up becoming.
Yeah, overall, like you said, I trust him. And Spurrier, Urban, if it don't work, I'm blaming y'all.
Yeah, I'm putting all the blame on them.
Y'all was sitting there with them. Y'all better get them right.
Yep. Y'all got to catch all the blame too and all the hate too.
No,
but yeah, I trust it. You know, I trust them. There's others that endorsed him that I was like, I don't care what they say. I don't trust that endorsement. But when those 2 endorse him, I'm like, okay, man. Yeah, you know, that makes sense. And you know, Urban brought on Ryan Day, and what's Ryan Day done?
Yeah,
you know, he looks like he might go back to back right now.
Yeah.
So it's
shout out Coach Mickey Marotti.
Yeah. Hey, bro, I just want to see hard-nosed football again. Yeah. I think that's so, it's almost like too many people try to be flashy. Too many people are thinking about, like, and I think that's what he's going to bring back. I think he's going to bring back that just tough-nosed football. I mean, you can't hit the way you used to be able to hit, but there's going to be a tough-nosed football. It's going to be like, it's going to be fun football because Buster Faulkner is going to make offense fun.
For sure.
But it's going to still, in the same sense, it's going to be, at the end of the day, you need to stop them from getting into that rectangle, and your offense needs to get into that rectangle.
Man. Tough, hard-nosed, smash-mouth football, man.
That's all it is. That's all it is. But I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yes,
you know,
sir, bro.
I told you the other day, you're always welcome on here. You see me live, you just text me like, bro, I'm bored. I want to come on.
I'm popping in.
Yeah, you're always welcome, bro. Always welcome. While y'all are here, I see there's 60 people in here right now. Smash the like button, share this out. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe for me. We're trying to get to 1,000. I was trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year, but we'll see.
Hey, let's make it happen, fellas. Y'all smash that like button, subscribe, share with a friend, family member, man. My guy's doing great things, man. And next year is looking even brighter. So make sure you become a subscriber of this channel for sure. I
appreciate that. Brian Fisher here said that in 2004 you played against Summerall.
I smashed him then.
You smashed him.
Well, he was on defense, but so we smashed him.
The team got
yeah. If he had a best friend on offense, I smashed him.
No. Hey, he knows.
Sure Summerall will appreciate it.
He admits it too. He knew what it was like coming there. He said he's like, I'm happy to be on this side. He knows what it's like to be there. And
no, for sure.
But yeah, he's one of us. He wants to win and he loves football, and I think he loves the University of Florida. So
For sure.
I love it. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks
Thank
for
you all
having
for
me,
hanging
brother.
out with us.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
as always, it's
Merry
Go
Christmas.
Gators. And you guys know how we end it. If you ain't a Gator,
You must
y'all
be
know the
Gator
rest.
bait.
Yes, sir.
Hello, bro.